Dreamland Adventures: A Journey to the Moon, Chapter 1, The Dream. Once upon a time in a far-off land, there lived a little boy with dreams so grand. His name was Timmy, with curly hair and bright eyes, and in his dreams, he soared up to the skies. One night, he had a dream so clear, of a magical world, with nothing to fear. He dreamed of singing birds and dancing bees, and a world full of color, as far as he could see. Timmy was amazed at all she could see, a world so different from his reality. He knew that he wanted to explore, and dreamt of adventures, forevermore. When he woke up, he knew what to do, he would keep dreaming, his dreams would come true. For dreams can take you places you've never been, and fill your life with magic and glee within. Chapter 2, The Telescope. Timmy's dreams had opened up his mind, to a world so vast and full of wonders to find. But he wanted to see more, and explore the sky, so he went on a mission, to reach up high. His parents took him to a place so grand, a telescope observatory, so tall and grand. Timmy's eyes widened, as he peered through the lens, and saw the moon up close, with its craters and bends. He saw the stars twinkle, in the dark night, and a shooting star, that gave his a delight. Timmy knew that his dreams were not just in his head, but real, and could take him to places, far ahead. He learned about the planets, and the galaxies too, and how the universe was so vast, and so new. Timmy's curiosity grew with every new sight, and he knew that he wanted to reach for the light. So he went back home, with a newfound spark, and decided to learn more, about the universe so dark. For with every new thing that he learned, his dreams would take him, to places yet unturned. Chapter 3, The Rocket. Timmy's dreams had taken his far and wide, but now he wanted to take a rocket, and ride. He wanted to explore the universe, in a new way, and he knew that building a rocket, was the only way. He gathered his friends, and they got to work, building a rocket, with every detail they'd learned. They worked hard, day and night, making sure that their rocket, was built just right. They put together engines, and boosters too, and made sure that their rocket, was sturdy and true. They painted it red, with a silver stripe, and polished it so bright, it shone like a ripe. Timmy and his friends, were ready to fly, up to the sky, so high, so high. They got in the rocket, and strapped themselves in, and counted down, from 10 to 0, with a grin. Chapter 4, Blast Off. Timmy and his friends had built a rocket, and now they were ready for a real adventure. They had packed their bags with snacks and gear, and were determined to explore, far and near. The countdown began, and the engines roared, the rocket shook, and the ground soared. With a burst of flame, they took to the sky, their adventure had begun, they were flying so high. The wind rushed by, as they flew through the clouds, the world beneath them, so small, so loud. Timmy looked out of the window, and saw the earth, and knew that his dreams, had given her worth. The rocket shook, as they broke through the atmosphere, the stars twinkled, and the moon was so near. Timmy and his friends, were on a journey so grand, exploring the universe, with their own hand. They visited planets, and saw new sights, met new creatures, and learned new insights. Their adventure was one of a kind, and they knew that it was all in their mind. For when you dream big, and you reach for the sky, you can achieve anything, and fly so high. Timmy and his friends, had made their dream come true, and they knew that there was nothing, they couldn't do. Chapter 5, The Lunar Landing. Timmy and his friends had flown so far, and now they were ready for the biggest star. The moon was their destination, so bright, and they had worked so hard, day and night. They landed on the surface, so gray and bright, and stepped out of the rocket, with all their might. The ground beneath them, was soft and cold, and they knew that their adventure, was about to unfold. They explored the craters, and the rocks so grand, and saw the earth, from a distance so grand. The stars twinkled, and the universe was so wide, and they knew that they were on a journey, with nothing to hide. Timmy and his friends collected moon rocks, and took pictures, with their camera box. They jumped so high, in the low gravity, and knew that their adventure was a once-in-a-lifetime rarity. They looked up at the sky, and saw the stars so bright, and knew that their dreams had taken flight. For when you dream big, and you work so hard, you can achieve anything, and reach for the stars so far. Their adventure was coming to an end, and they knew that it was time to go back to their friends. They got back in their rocket, and blasted off, heading back to Earth, with nothing to scoff. Their adventure had been one to remember for years, and they knew that their dreams had conquered all fears. For when you dream big, and you reach for the moon, you can achieve anything, and soar so high, so soon. Chapter 6, The Moon Base. Timmy and his friends had returned to Earth, but their adventure had given them a new worth. They had explored the universe, so vast, and now they wanted to make their adventure last. They decided to build a base on the moon, a place where they could explore every nook and cranny soon. They gathered their tools, and their supplies too, and got to work, with nothing to rue. They built the base, with all their might, and made sure it was sturdy and right. They had to work in the low gravity, but they knew that their dreams were a force so mighty. They built living quarters, and labs too, and made sure that their base had everything anew. They explored the moon, with a new zeal, and knew that their adventure was becoming so real. They met other explorers, who came from afar, and shared their stories, under the moon and the stars. Their base was now a hub of activity, a place where people came to explore with creativity. Timmy and his friends were proud of what they had done, their dreams had become reality, under the bright sun. For when you dream big, and you work so hard, you can achieve anything, and reach for the stars so far. Chapter 7, The Lunar Night. The moon base was bustling, with activity so grand, but Timmy and his friends knew that they had to stand the test of the lunar night, so dark and cold, a challenge that they knew they couldn't behold. As the sun set, and darkness took over, Timmy and his friends prepared to discover what it was like to spend a night on the moon, and face the challenges that came so soon. The temperature dropped to 100 degrees below, and they had to make sure that their base had a glow, to keep them warm, and safe from the cold, and protect them from dangers that could unfold. They cooked their dinner on a stove so small, and shared their stories under the lunar pall. The stars twinkled, and the earth was so bright, and they knew that they were in for a long and cold night. They explored the moon, in the darkness so deep, and saw things that they couldn't see in their sleep. The rocks shone like diamonds so bright, and they knew that they were in for a lunar night so right. As the night drew to a close, and the sun began to rise, Timmy and his friends were filled with surprise. For they had conquered the lunar night so bold, and they knew that their adventure was one to behold. For when you dream big, and you face the challenges head on, you can achieve anything, and become a true champion. Chapter 8, The Spacewalk. Timmy and his friends were on a mission anew, to explore the moon, and discover something new. They put on their spacesuits, and headed outside, to take a spacewalk, with nothing to hide. The air was thin, and the temperature so low, but they were ready for the adventure to show. They walked on the surface, with a bounce so light, and saw things that they had never seen in sight. They saw the earth, from a distance so grand, and knew that they were in a magical land. The stars twinkled, and the universe so wide, and they knew that they were on a journey with nothing to hide. They collected moon rocks, and took pictures so grand, and explored every nook and cranny, with nothing to stand. They fixed their equipment, and made sure all was well, and knew that their adventure was something to tell. As they walked back to the safety of the base, they were filled with excitement, and a smile on their face. For they had achieved something so great, and knew that their adventure was not up for debate. For when you dream big, and you take a spacewalk, you can achieve anything, and reach the top of the block. Chapter 9, The Return Journey. Timmy and his friends had explored the moon, and discovered things that would make their hearts swoon. But it was time to head back to their home planet Earth, and they knew that the return journey would require all their worth. They packed their bags, and said their goodbyes to the moon base, and the lunar skies. They boarded their rocket, and strapped themselves in, and prepared for the journey to begin. The rocket roared, and the engines so loud, as they left the moon, and headed out into the cloud. They saw the Earth getting closer and near, and knew that their adventure was almost here. As they re-entered the atmosphere, with a rush so great, they held on tight, and tried not to hesitate. The heat shield glowed, and protected them well, as they hurtled towards the Earth, with nothing to sell. They deployed their parachutes, and slowed down so fast, as they landed safely on the ground at last. Timmy and his friends were greeted with cheers, and knew that their adventure would last for many years. For when you dream big, and you take the return journey, you can achieve anything, and be filled with such glee. Chapter 10, Homecoming. Timmy and his friends had returned from space, and their homecoming was a grand embrace. They were greeted with banners, and cheers so loud, as they stepped out of the rocket, and into the crowd. Their families and friends hugged them so tight, and asked them questions into the night. They shared their stories, and their adventures so grand, and everyone listened with such a demand. They showed off their moon rocks, and their pictures so clear, and talked about the moon without any fear. They shared their dreams, and their hopes so bright, and inspired everyone with such delight. For Timmy and his friends had achieved so much, and their adventure had a magical touch. They had gone to the moon, and come back again, and their homecoming was something to explain. For when you dream big, and you follow your heart, you can achieve anything, and set yourself apart. And Timmy and his friends had shown everyone so true, that anything is possible, if you believe in you.